Hello and welcome back to Quartzlight, your car brochure channel. Today we're looking at the Peugeot 205. Welcome back, and Quartzlight, if you're new to the channel, we look at car brochures 3 times a week on YouTube, so if you're interested in cars and car brochures, please consider subscribing. It certainly helps us, and it also helps you. We'll be able to bring you better content as we grow. Anyway, back to today's episode, the Peugeot 205. First introduced on the 24th of February 1983. The right-hand drive versions arrived in September, and this is a UK brochure, and it ran all the way till 1999. It was a car that really turned around the fortunes of Peugeot. Previously, Peugeot was really seen as being a very conservative brand, particularly when you compare it to other French makers like Renault and indeed the very eccentric Citroën. Now Peugeot have got this fun little car, and it did indeed win many awards. What car awarded it Car of the Year 1984? And Car Magazine actually awarded it the Car of the Decade in 1990. And for me personally, it is actually the car I passed my driving test in, a little white diesel version. But anyway, let's have a look at today's brochure. Okay, so here's today's brochure. It's actually dated, this particular one, August 1986. And like I say, it's a UK brochure, this one. Always particularly liked the design of the 205. It was a nice design. Some people say it's a Pininfarina design. It wasn't. It was a in-house design. On the back, a very plain back, and we've got a little bit of a dealer stamp, so we'll have a look at that. There we go. Aldershot enhance. Peter Durant, it looks like, limited. Reading Road South. So I always quite like the dealer stamps on these. They are particularly, for me, I do like them. Anyway, let's have a turn the brochure around and then open the brochure and see what we can see. And as we turn to the first page, we can see 2 models available. We've got a 5-door and this 2-door model. Again, I do particularly like the overall design of the 205. We've got other views of the interior, the dash, and a few more images. We'll have a look at them before we actually start reading some of it here. So there you go, that's the interior shot of the 205. I always particularly remember when I passed the test that this particularly like a 2-step dashboard with all the lights above. I quite like that little design. And you can see all the little features. This looks a little bit cluttered, I guess you could say, but very much an 80s interior, very plasticky, but very functional. If we go over to the interior, typically French, typically comfortable for a small car at least. And then we've got a few little images of, the split fold rear seat, a random oar and a bag to show how much space in there, and this sort of like wheel from the CTI, which would be the convertible version, and the GTI. Okay, let's have a look at some of the text that's on this particular one. As usual, we won't read it all, but we'll just pick a few little things out. So it says here, the Peugeot 205 is a small car for everyone. Like a chameleon, it can adapt to whatever scene you choose. For the out-and-out sporting motorists, there is the breathtaking GTI. 1580cc, 115 brake horsepower, 5 speeds, 3 doors, and performance even more electrifying than its looks. For the more restrained traveller, with economy in mind, but also the classic Peugeot standard of large car comfort, choose the 4-speed XE with the frugal 954cc engine. Between these models, there's a range of 3 and 5 door masterpieces of compact design, super smooth diesels, a stunning convertible, an automatic out of this world, you name it, and there's a 205 to suit. Over the Leaf now, and we get lots of different variations and specs, so let's have a look at each one. Okay, so the various models, starting with the Cabriolet. Now, we said at the start it wasn't a Pininfarina design. Well, the Cabriolet was the Pininfarina design 205, and it does look a nice little package, doesn't it? Over the other side, we get the often forgotten Peugeot 205, the GT, not the GTI, the GT, with this unusual little GT decal on the side. Going down, we've also got another sporty version, the XS. Almost like there were too many sporty versions. I don't know what the idea with having a GT and the XS are, but I guess they was all trying to promote the sportiness of the 205. But we also got very standard versions, like base models like the XL and the GL with these very basic wheels. Going up the range, we had the Porsche XR and the automatic, and you can also notice a Peugeot 309 in front of it. But I guess the model that we really remember, and certainly it was all the hot hatch era, the GTI. This is a 1.6 GTI at this time. It says the 1987, so this is, like I say, a 1986 brochure, but it's for the 1987 model range. 1987 sees specification improvements at both ends of the 205 range. The XE now has reclined front seats, plus an improved braking system, while the GTI gets a new finish to the fascia and a leather trimmed steering wheel. The newest star in the range is the GT engined 205 XS with its many GTI features. Deep front bumpers and driving lamps, contoured front seats, 4-dial instruments I should say. For sheer glamour, try the CTI Cabriolet with full GTI power under the bonnet, and for sheer indulgence, relax in the 4-speed 205 automatic. If economy and durability are all important, why not try the diesel versions of the XL, GL or GR? The 205 range caters for most tastes, and indeed I kind of think those diesels, French diesels were really the cars to have in the 80s, really. The rise of the diesels, a very historical thing, really. And the 205 was one of those that was a very well regarded diesel. We then get to this fold out area with a very comprehensive specifications and sort of like interior and exterior. So we'll have a look at some of this. So there we go, starting off the specification for the engine, the different engine sizes. The XLD was the big diesel, the 1769cc. Now I can't remember if I learnt to drive in the XLD or the GRD, but the 1769cc was the model that I just learned to drive in. But anyway, by the by, we'll go down this list of specifications. I'm not going to go through it all, but you can certainly pause it at any time. And little insurance groupings at the end. So that's the first 4 models, and then another 6 models here. So it's quite a comprehensive range, the 205, and I think that really shows how well regarded Peugeot really thought of this car, and it was a really good seller. So it makes sense to try and cater for as many people as they could. Again, starting with the engine cubic capacity and then going down the list, and of course you can pause this at any time. And then it goes down to the bottom to show both the performance figures and the fuel consumption figures, and also the insurance group. And of course the CTI and the GTI was by far the most expensive to insure at this time. And the far side we get the specifications and the exterior specifications, i.e. what equipment you got on each model. So again, I'll move that down. And then we get this quite a lovely image really of these sort of motorsport rallying Peugeot 205s. I do particularly like this little image, and certainly a memorable thing seeing these on rallies all around the world. So we will have a look at this text as well, why not, before we end this brochure review. It's saying here, to enthusiasts and family motorists alike, the Peugeot 205 is associated with motorsport of the toughest kind. International rallying against the clock and against the most competitive cars and drivers from every continent. To finish is a rare achievement. To win is a mark of the utmost distinction. From its first outings across the harshest routes in the world, the 205 formula itself as one the rest have to beat. With the outstanding 205 Turbo 16, Peugeot ran away with the 1985 World Rally Championship, and early in the 86 season, the Swedish and Corsican rallies fell in the same design. When you drive any 205, you're at the wheel of a thoroughbred and a world-class winner. So there we go, that ends today's rather pleasant brochure for the Peugeot 205, and what a pleasant little car. If you've got any memories of the 205, please do jot them in the comments, they're always interesting to read. But for now, we'll say please do like and subscribe. We'll see you very soon. Take care and goodbye.